Hello, I'm Bill Landing, and welcome again to Interesting Individuals 2023. We're going to be doing a combination Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's show, all rolled into one. We're going to get things started here with Thanksgiving. Ever wonder why Thanksgiving is held on a Thursday? Centuries ago in the New England areas, Thursday was the day selected by ministers to perform religious lectures. These practices continued through Washington's presidency, with food being served more and more. President Lincoln in 1863 designated Thanksgiving to be on the last Thursday of November. That was later changed to the fourth Thursday of November. Luckily for Lincoln, he was never around to experience Black Friday. Having turkey has been the main meal for Thanksgiving. Why? A roasted turkey makes a perfect celebratory centerpiece. Turkey is practical for serving a large crowd, and they are bigger than most birds. They are cheaper to purchase than pig for a meal. It isn't known for a fact that turkey goes back to Plymouth in the 16th century, but after America formed the colonies, turkey was frequently eaten. Now let's get to Black Friday, which, as many know, is the first Friday after Thanksgiving that kicks off the Christmas shopping season. And shoppers hit the stores in droves to get good deals. The earliest use of Black Friday appeared in the November 1951 journal Factory Management Maintenance. It made reference to workers calling in sick to have a 4-day weekend. The phrase caught on slowly, and police in Philadelphia referred to the day as Black Friday because of the crowds in the street plus heavy vehicle traffic. But Black Friday earned real acclaim when it appeared in the New York Times on November 29, 1975, referring it to the busiest shopping and traffic day of the year. Since then, the term has grown throughout the U.S., and businesses begin opening as early as 5 a.m. on Friday. And in recent years, some retailers will open up on midnight and some even as early as 8 p.m. Thursday to accommodate the customers. Black Friday is also popular in these foreign countries: Australia, Canada, England, Germany, Poland, Greece, Norway, Sweden, France, and Brazil. Well, Philip and Pam, we made it. A 12-hour Black Friday shift is over. It seemed like 42 hours.
When those doors opened at 5 a.m., it was like a stampede of buffalo.
Pam, Brendan, Gulliver's department store is a shambles, and so are my nerves.
I'm so sore. I feel like I got run over by a steamroller.
Well, the toy department was sold out in 3 hours. We sold 52 of those toy helicopters and 40 stuffed Santa Clauses, plus 26 of those 3-foot by 3-foot electric cars.
The $29.99 printers were gone in 2 hours, and boy, were the customers mad when they were told the black cartridge didn't come with it.
Luckily, we told them before buying them and after. It was like a war zone by the women's dressing rooms. 2 women got into a shoving match, and I had to separate them.
Oh. Well, Pam and Philip, you were both right about us having shoplifters. I hear security arrested 6 people. One man tried to walk out wearing 3 neckties, and then one girl had 8 CDs stuck into her purse.
I wanted to strangle the guy who tied me up for 20 minutes looking for ink pens. Then he didn't even buy one.
Oh. The cafeteria is still open. We haven't eaten in, about 8 hours?
Sounds about right, Brendan. Let's all go there.
You think we'd have any luck calling off on Christmas Eve?
Anyone who does might get fired.
Or worse yet, come find us and force us to come into work.
Yeah.
Well, Quick Hand Quincy, the top pickpocket in Dallas, Chicago, San Diego, Milwaukee, to name others.
Pittsburgh Pete. I'd heard you'd finally left Pittsburgh, but I didn't know you'd come to New York City.
Yeah, for the past 3 months, and I don't need an accomplice.
Relax, Pete. There are hundreds of stores in New York City. We'll both make good.
Yeah, Quincy, plus with it being Christmas, there will be people everywhere. How well did you do last year?
Well, I was in Sandusky, Ohio, and it was a dream. In a 2-week span, I got 187 wallets, 18 pocketbooks, over 9,000 in cash, and about 170 credit cards.
Great! Last year I was still in Pittsburgh, and I didn't do that bad either. The week leading up to Christmas, I hit 24 stores and got 146 wallets. Plus, I got 2 purses and around 134 credit cards and roughly about $7,000 in cash. I got them on elevators, escalators, and even a few drunks. It was fun.
Yeah. Your brother Alfie, is he still an auto mechanic?
Yeah, Quincy, he is. He has his own business now, and man, he fleeces people something fierce, charging them 3 times as much to fix cars.
Wow, that's something. How can he do that to people and still have a conscience?
You know what? I don't know. Well, Merry Christmas and Happy Hunting, Quincy.
Same to you, Pete.
Delphina, what do you think you're going to wear to the 1723 Thanksgiving ball?
Amelia, I like to wear my deep purple and black gown, but you borrowed it from me 2 months ago and haven't returned it.
You must be mistaken. Delphina, Gladys borrowed it from me and assured me she would then return it to you.
What? She never did. In fact, I loaned her my yellow gown a few weeks ago and she never returned it.
Really? She borrowed my green gown a month ago and she never returned it.
Now I think about it, Wilma borrowed my polka dot gown 2 weeks ago and never returned it.
Hey, I remember letting Wilma borrow my satin white dress, my favorite one last month, and she hasn't returned it.
Amelia, we need to have a meeting with all those women and figure out who has what.
Right, Delphina, and the one who has borrowed the most clothes should be forced to wear a potato sack to the ball. Queen Esmeralda here, and it's time to prepare my 2024 New Year's Day feast. It will be a modest affair, only 328 from 6 different countries. Since my country is located up in the Alps, the snow will make it difficult for some to make it. But I have 46 hard-working men to remove the snow the best that they can. Plus, the security knights in armor help the guests park their carriages and feed their horses. There won't be any music groups, however. In November, over 100 musicians from 7 countries decided not to play at any more functions until they get more money. They've called this by a weird name, a strike. My menu will be pork and roast duck, plus plenty of bread and vegetables, and I have the same number of chefs from Halloween, but only 3 bakers. I still have the same amount of waiters and waitresses. I have a wizard, a jester, and 2 jugglers to perform. Any leftover food, of course, will be distributed among the residents in the poor section of town. I hope Duke of Carrington comes. He has a brand new carriage made entirely of silver that I'd like to see. I hope King Leonis doesn't make it. He plays cards with many of the guests, but I can't convince anyone that he plays with a marked deck. So I guess many will go home broke again this year.
Eli, Carlene, I'm sorry it's been a lousy night for a New Year's Eve costume party.
Well, Benji, you had no way of knowing we'd get 22 inches of snow in 7 hours.
Yeah, and 40-mile-an-hour winds? Practically all businesses have been shut down for the night.
You 2 are the only ones to make it in. You'll have to both stay overnight. You 2 use the bedrooms, I'll take the sofa. I feel bad for some of the guests who got stuck trying to get here tonight.
By the way, who are some of them?
Well, I have here that Cecilio Guante got plowed in shut in his driveway. Claude Wolfington slid off Bellevue Street into a ditch and had to wait over an hour for a tow. And Betsy Hurstenberg had to turn around and head back home.
And I got a call from Audrey Carmichael telling me it was too tough for her to make it in as well.
Yeah, it's only 9:40. We can watch TV or do some reading. Maybe we can ring in the new year together, banging in some pans together. Well, how has the year been for the 2 of you?
Well, I had a 3-year loan on my car and I got it paid off finally. Plus, I paid off one of my credit cards.
I got a nice raise this summer at my job at Wendy's clothing store. I'm pretty happy working there.
Glad to hear. Eli, what about your job?
Well, I'm still doing well at Wendell's Machine Shop. I've been there about 12 years, and I've received 2 promotions, and the money's not too bad.
Well, I'm going to do some reading. If I doze up, be sure to wake me up just before midnight.
Okay, I'm gonna go look at some magazines.
I'll just watch some television.
Karen, how many do we have locked up for the midnight shift? It's 11:20 right now.
We have 6. 5 others have been taken to the county sheriff's office. Oh, what a relief.
I know. 3 of those guys put up quite a fight at the party. Officer Mulligan got a bloody nose from that, and Corporal Denton got kicked in the leg 3 or 4 times. It was a night for crazies, that's for sure.
I'll say, I arrested 2 teenage boys at that school party for dumping vodka into the punch bowl, a woman who stabbed her husband on the arm, and I took reports of vandalism on 2 cars, a camper, and a home where the people are gone on vacation.
Nothing like New Year's Eve. I arrested 1 speeder for going 85 miles per hour in the 35-mile zone on Petrie Street, went to 3 houses for loud music, and broke up a fight at a dance at Mason Hall. 10 more minutes and we're off. I think I'll fill my tub with hot water and jump right into it.
My husband is working the midnight shift at his job, so I won't see him until the morning. I'll most likely just go to bed.
Yeah. Sounds good. Well, let's finish up our reports.
Dee, can't you skip your club's New Year's Eve party and stay home with me?
It's important, Florence. The ring-in of the new year with the guys at the club is a lot of fun.
I've got some great movies we can watch. Citizen Kane, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, Stagecoach.
No, I want to go to the club.
I could cook some Hungarian goulash, that's your favorite. And if you stay home, we can watch the ball fall in Times Square.
No, Florence, being at the club is more fun.
Nothing seems to work to keep Deke home tonight. Wait a minute. I might have one chance left. Oh, Deke,
Yeah?
look what I've got.
Florence, where'd you get that?
I won it at a ladies' raffle last month.
Wow. And you're just now showing it to me?
You like it, huh?
Yeah.
Too bad you're going to the club tonight.
Forget the club. I'll cancel. Now you go ahead and get changed.
Not so fast. Make us some drinks and I'll be right back out.
Okay.
I had the perfect weapon all the time and it was right under my nose.
Well, Bill Lanning, continuing on with our holiday show, Christmas time. I bet there are some of you who don't know there is a town in Indiana called Santa Claus. In the southwestern part of Indiana in Spencer County is where Santa Claus, Indiana is. Its population is roughly 2,600 residents. In 1854, the town was first called Santa Fe, Indiana. However, when they tried in 1856 to start a post office, the post office department informed them there was already a Santa Fe, Indiana, and would have to choose a different name. After a number of meetings, the name of Santa Claus was chosen. Because of that name, the post office gets many letters to Santa. For over 100 years, the post office makes sure that a group of volunteers respond to each child as Santa would. There are 3 lakes around Santa Claus: Lake Christmas, Lake Holly, and Lake Noel. There are attractions in the town. One is Santa's Candy Castle, created in 1935. It's a red brick candy castle people can visit. Then there is Toy Village, which features a series of miniature fairy tale buildings. This is sponsored by national toy companies. The town has a newspaper. It's called the Santa Claus Town News. The town once got some nationwide attention in 1929. Robert Ripley featured the town's post office in his Ripley's Believe It or Not cartoon strip. The approximate travel time from Michigan City to Santa Claus is 5.5 hours. Well, here is a look at some top Christmas movies and TV specials in no particular order that you can see at Christmas time. Christmas in Connecticut, 1945. It's a Wonderful Life, 1946. The Santa Claus, 1994. Gremlins, 1984. National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, 1989. Scrooge, 1988, A Christmas Carol, 1951 version, and The Miracle on 34th Street, 1947. White Christmas, 1954, Nightmare Before Christmas, 1993, Home Alone, 1990, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, 1964, The Year Without a Santa Claus, The Muppets Christmas Carol, 1992, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, 1966, A Charlie Brown Christmas, 1965, Elf, 2003, A Christmas Story, 1983, Santa Claus is Coming to Town, 1970, and Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas, 1977.
Interesting individuals, Christmas stocking and trees in the White House. You can't have Christmas without Christmas stockings. There are numerous legends of the stocking, one dating back many centuries ago. St. Nicholas was staying with a poor family. The father was going to have his 3 daughters go into the street and beg for food. St. Nicholas left the home after dark and somehow obtained 3 bags of gold. He threw them in an open window, with 1 bag falling into a stocking hanging on a nail to be dried after it had been washed. The family awoke to find the gold and were overjoyed. From there, throughout the centuries, children hung stockings by the fireplace to be there for St. Nicholas to arrive and to place gifts in them. And yes, the other legend has it that bad children get a piece of coal in their stocking. For decades now, fancy Christmas stockings are purchased for both children and adults. These are the top 10 cities that have the most Christmas spirit. By that, it means states that have the most activities, festivals, events, and decorations. In order, they are California, Utah, Maryland, Massachusetts, Illinois, Texas, Virginia, Washington, New Jersey, and Connecticut. Did you know that Benjamin Harrison is the first U.S. president to have Christmas tree in the White House? On December 25th of 1899, the president had a tree on the 2nd floor of the Oval Room decorated with glass ornaments, toy soldiers, and lit candles.
Let's take a look now at some New Year's facts. It was New Year's Eve 1907 and Adolph Oates was the publisher of the New York Times, and he was in search of a way to ring in the new year. The previous 3 years, Oates had a gigantic fireworks show that took place on top of the Times building. They lit up the sky and entertained thousands of New Yorkers. However, the city would not allow any more fireworks to be shot off because ash from them were landing on the streets, which caused concern of possible fires beginning. Oates managed to find what he needed at the city Western Union building. There, a metal ball 3.5 feet in diameter was lowered from the building each weekday to indicate when it was 12 noon. Many people would see the ball both outside and inside nearby buildings. Oates was able to get the ball and put it on top of the Times building. He had workers using ropes and pulleys to slowly lower the 700-pound ball at midnight. It was decorated in a dazzling orb made of wood and iron filled with 100 electric light bulbs. The number 1908 lit up on the ball to indicate the new year. The ball thrilled thousands of street people who rang bells and motorists blew their horns. Plus steamships would whistle from the water. Oates had pulled it off. Since then, for over 100 years, the ball dropping on Times Square is still one of the most viewed holiday events in the U.S. and also other parts of the world via television and computers. And how about the cleanup of Times Square afterwards? We all know about the thousands of people who are in Times Square at midnight for the ball dropping, but what about afterwards when the streets are a mess? Well, the New York streets have over 300 sanitation workers on them to clean up confetti, hats, horns, and more debris. On the morning of 2023, the crew cleaned up roughly 132,000 pounds of debris. The cleaning begins at 2 a.m. and goes till around 5 a.m. They use 80 trucks, 33 mechanical brooms, and 57 backpack blowers to clean up all the garbage. Father Time and the Baby New Year. Two common images of the New Year are Father Time and Baby New Year. They symbolize the end of one year and the beginning of the next one. But they also have their roots in mythology. Father Time has his roots in Cronus, the Greek god of time, and in the Holy King of Celtic tradition. Both are depicted in ancient stories as an old man, usually bearded, wearing robes and wise, old expressions on his face. He usually carries a timepiece of some sort, reinforcing the idea that time is passing and it is time for him to leave. Baby New Year has its roots in the Greek and Dionysus time, who has commonly depicted it as the baby born at the end of what is the modern calendar year. Baby New Year is what lies ahead, the promise of rebirth and a new start, as the calendar turns over and January gives way to February all over again. In the popular imaginary nowadays situation, Father Time imparts his wisdom to Baby New Year, and the human experience begins anew in a new calendar year. The pair of images mirror the cycle of human life, compressed into 365 years. Well, there are all different types of versions of the calendar and the New Year's. The Roman New Year began with the vernal equinox, but years of tampering with the solar calendar saw the holiday get to the date of January the 1st for the Romans. January carried something special. The name was from the two-faced Janus, the god of change and beginnings. Janus was considered to look at the old and ahead to the new, and in this idea made the transition of one year to the next. I'm Bill Landing. I hope you enjoyed our holiday program here on Interesting Individuals for 2023. As always, thank yous. Andy Steele, Sue Copeland of Costume World, Cindy Taylor, Susan Brown, and John Baines. Everybody have a great holiday season.